Hello and welcome. My name is Brian Kaplan, editor of The Banker magazine. I'd like to welcome you to the 2012 edition of How to Run a Bank, The Way Back to Growth. Now, this is the fourth edition of How to Run a Bank, and the focus on growth is designed to address the challenges many banks now face. With economic growth still rather anemic in many parts of the world, Europe and the US, the search for future profits is of critical importance. As in previous years, the new How to Run a Bank includes some very high-level viewpoints plus a wide range of articles by leading experts in their field. It begins with a very frank introduction by Deutsche Bank's chairman, Dr. Josef Ackermann, who outlines the challenges faced by European banks. He acknowledges that their future will be affected by decisions made by politicians, and he encourages senior banking executives to become involved in the political process. Next, we have Stuart Gulliver, who's the CEO of HSBC, and he gives a chief executive's view of how risks are changing in banking. So long as the fundamental causes of the current financial crisis are correctly identified and tackled, he sees grounds for optimism in the continued potential for wealth creation and development, most particularly in emerging economies. This view of the continued potential for global economic growth is then picked up by Francisco Gonzalez, Chairman and CEO of BBVA, another European banking giant which, like HSBC, has a large part of its business in developing countries. In a world with 7 billion people, BBVA's CEO reminds us that only 900 million people have bank accounts. Francisco Gonzalez, known as a champion of technology in banking, warns that only banks capable of both cultural and technological change will be able to compete. Also in the Global Leaders section of How to Run a Bank is an article by Wang Hongjiang, chairman of China Construction Bank, which examines recent changes to China's financial system as the country moves towards becoming a market-driven economy. In the other chapters of How to Run a Bank, we look at a wide range of issues including regulation, risk management, transaction services, business opportunities, operational challenges, corporate governance, and Islamic finance. Combining a number of topics, the CEO of Citigroup's Global Transaction Services, Vani Darkarafi, gives his take on how to make regulatory change work and looks at the operational implications and opportunities raised by the Single Euro Payment Area, SEPA, the Payment Services Directive, Target 2, MiFID II, and of course Basel III. Then we have Tim Howe, Chief Executive Officer for Euroclear, who outlines new initiatives involving centralized securities depositories, and he then goes on to consider the issue of collateral management. Looking to the emerging markets, Standard Chartered's Chief Economist Gerard Lyons analyzes Asia's continued resilience and its changing role in the global economy, while Manfred Schepers, CFO of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, describes how East European banks must become less dependent on external support and more focused on local funding. How to Run a Bank also looks at corporate governance issues, for example, the need for board members to take responsibility for setting their bank's appetite for risk. Indeed, we've devoted an entire section of this year's edition to getting to grips with cultural and technological changes such as smartphone applications, social media, and near-field payment technology. Lastly, but certainly not least, we have a section on Islamic banking, tackling issues such as the development in international industry standards and the creation of deposit insurance schemes. Without doubt, there's something in this year's edition for everyone in the banking industry to read. So order your copy now by going to www.howtorunabank.com and happy reading.